Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's been programmed into us. But what if we flip that whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our minds, our finances, our relationships, and our lives. Now, I know I look like I'm by myself today. Over the past 4 years, we've featured many incredible guests on this show. But tonight, we're turning the spotlight around to go back behind the scenes a little bit. So, tonight's guest is my other half, Andy. And today we're going to dive right into why we do this show.
I love it. I love it. It's always fun being on the other end of the interview.
So now that you're on the hot seat, Andy, so let's start with this show. For those that might be new to the show, I know we've been reaching out to tens of thousands of people. So if you're new to the show, why don't you tell our audience what inspired you to create the Chronically Healthy Life show in the first place?
I think it really started from 2020 when we moved from California to Texas, and for about 8 years in California, the journey for living a chronically healthy life started with myself healing my own body. And during those 8 years in California, I was really, really trying to inspire people, by my journey, by my success, to inspire people that they can live healthier too. But of course, 2020 happened, and everyone knows what happened in 2020. We had the pandemic, okay, and everything went crazy. The whole world went crazy. California went crazy, and we left for Dodge. We came to Texas, and when we came to Texas, my vision just got a lot bigger. It's sort of like, well, how can we give our message a little further than just through words of mouth, through our local community? I really wanted to make a change. And that's really where Chronically Healthy Life came to fruit. And I realized living a chronic healthy life, it isn't just about exercise and eating better. There's just so much more.
So we created the show because you say that your mission is to help a million people live longer, healthier, younger lives. What does that really mean to you?
Once again, I think that comes down to we were so limited in our scope of how many people we can help when we're just going word of mouth, friends, interviewing, introducing us and stuff like that. When, my vision, when we started the show, it's like, how do we reach more people outside our scope of influence, basically to reach worldwide, our people around the world. And that's the beauty of the internet, right? Because during 2020, everything went online. And, both me and you, we talked about this. We thought that this is a great opportunity to share our message much further. And, in my mind, it's like, well, if we're just going to touch a few people, why don't we make that vision even bigger. There's so many people in the world. Why don't we see if we can inspire 1 million people to change their way of thinking on health and longevity?
And 1 million people is totally doable now that we have the internet. We can actually reach people worldwide. And up until now, there's still a lot of people coming online every day that they weren't before. So we still have a lot of growth. But you mentioned earlier that there is like a defining moment that of your personal experience that kind of spark your passion for reversing chronic diseases. Let me just back a little bit. We're not health doctors. We're not
Yes,
saying we can cure any chronic diseases or any diseases. This is just our personal experience.
yes, yes. So it's funny because when we started this, I thought it was really all my own idea. And if you've been catching me in the last few episodes of Chronically Healthy Life and our other show, Chronic Health Collective, um, you know, we had Dr. Janine Williams on there digging into my psyche, my intuition. And I always thought that, oh, I was a brilliant genius. I really wanted to help the world, but I didn't even actually know what my why was, right? It was so buried deep into me. And, diving in with Dr. Williams, into ancestor health, she's an ancestor healing medicine woman. And it's interesting, I think, I actually have a much bigger why, and it's because of seeing my dad suffering from Parkinson's for over 15 years, being in an assisted facility where he was pushed around in a wheelchair. He needed help to get out of bed. He didn't get to do what he wanted to do. He ate everything he hated, and it was such a miserable life. And I remember every time when we had time to go back to Vancouver to visit my dad, he was always asking how we were doing, how's Minna doing, how you doing. It's like, you know, it was almost like he was giving the message to enjoy life. You don't want to be in this situation. And in the back of my mind, I didn't even realize that was really why I came about thinking this, this bigger vision to share a chronically healthy life. Because a lot of people, as they get old, they think that when you get old, you automatically get chronic diseases, heart attacks, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, type 2 diabetes. And I really want to change that thinking. That is not automatic. That doesn't mean you get these when you get old, or genes can turn on and turn off. And it's really about trying to inspire others to do better. And we're turning, we're turning 55. We are 55 this year. So we're official seniors, and we're healthier now than when we were in our late 20s and early 30s. So it's never too late to turn that around.
Yeah, I think it's not just that I guess the really old people that is thinking that way. It's their kids too, right? Their kids
Mm-hmm.
is thinking that, well, my parent is turning 80 or 90 or 100. They're just getting old. That's why they get a chronic diseases.
Yes.
So for you, from your standpoint, when we create chronically healthy life, what do you want them to feel or envision or change in their mind?
I think what we want to do is to inspire people to think that you can actually grow more vibrant as we age. Like, age is really just a number, right? There's more and more science now that age is actually a chronic disease, right? There's lots of studies out there that we can actually live a freakishly long time without aging, right? That number on your driver's license that keeps going up every year with your birthday, that doesn't mean we actually get old. That just means we get more wisdom for some of us. I don't know. But the point is, our bodies don't actually need to get old. There's so much technology now that's showing that we can actually stay at the same age if you're healthy, because that's probably what you want. But if you are not in good health, we want to get you back into better health. But at the same time, while we're doing that, we can actually help you reverse your age to a younger state. And even though as our numbers get bigger each year, celebrating birthdays, we can actually look younger, have more energy, and enjoy life. Because I think so many people now, especially right now, there's so much negative energy. So many people are so unhappy. And it starts with being tired and angry all the time. You get angry when everything hurts in your body. That's how I used to be. I used to function on anger for energy. But now for us, it's like, you can't believe how amazing, how much gratitude you have when your body's working properly, when you have the relationships that you cherish and love. And when your mindset is just shifted, there's just so much about living a chronically healthy life. I want everyone on default to be chronically healthy. Everything that you do just stacks one on another to be healthier each day you live a chronically healthy life.
So you're not just a show host, right? You don't just do this. You are an actual coach. So
Yes.
can you share with the audience some of the more powerful, more interesting stories or transformation that you've done so far?
Yes, there's actually quite a few. So I am a functional nutritionist, right? My background is we look at root causes. And a lot of people say, well, do you give meal plans? I say, no, I don't give meal plans. That's what most, dietitians or nutritionists do. They give you meal plans. And I honestly believe it doesn't matter which diet you're on, they all work. You just need to plug in the holes that you're insufficient on. But as a functional nutritionist, what we look at root causes for everything that's going on inside your body. And once again, I'm not a doctor, right? I'm a functional nutritionist coach. But, when you're looking at blood markers, for instance, this is where I want to go, right? Your blood markers is telling you at that certain point in time when you get that blood test, what's going on inside your body. And I love this because it's sort of like your report card of your health, right? But in general, most doctors, and I say most doctors, there are so many more functional doctors out there, holistic doctors that look at it through a different lens. Most doctors were sort of like, the way my parents are, right? As long as you don't got a D, everything's good, right? You're not failing, everything's good. You're normal, it's okay. That's how most doctors look at it. They look at their numbers, and if there isn't something that is totally off the rails where you need medication, they'll tell you your health is okay. I hear all the time, your numbers look great for your body shape, your numbers look great for your age. That's all bullshit. There's either good numbers or bad numbers, like optimal or suboptimal. And where I'm going with this, there are certain blood panels that we recommend to our clients. Of course, I'm not the one pulling your blood, right? You go to your own Quest Labs. And one of the clients that I have that I've been working with for, oh man, it's been a long time, probably 7 years now, right? And he just got this blood panel test, and I've been trying to get them to take it forever, right? And they thought they were healthy and everything, and they've been working out with me, and they take some of my advice for nutrition. They do their own thing, which is fine, right? But he's 60. He's 9 years older than me, so he's 64. He's literally my oldest client for the fitness side, because I'm a certified personal trainer also. And he came back the numbers. He was 10.4 years younger, right?
That's
So to me,
amazing.
that is amazing. So here's a 64-year-old, and his blood markers is showing him to be a 54-year-old, right? Technically even younger than us, right? So of course I pat myself on the back, and I know he can go even further. But that is one of the great examples of, in his case, movement, right? Exercise and movement. And he's, him and his wife is mainly vegetarian, right? Or vegan, actually. But they're living as healthy as they can, but it can be better. There are certain things that they can do that are better. And then another case that I wanted to quickly talk about is I had a client that had congestive heart failure. Basically, he caught COVID a few times. He went in the hospital in emergency, and he got assigned a cardiologist. So since 2020 to like 2023, end of 2023, his cardiologist was monitoring all his blood markers, like I said, because that's what's showing what's going on. And all the markers for inflammation and heart health was going downhill every 6 months. And he was introduced to me. And of course, we introduced him to L.I.F.E products, the X39 specifically, and some carnosine and glutathione. But anyways, he said, well, what else do I need to do? And I was looking at his diet, his exercise. He was doing more or less everything right. Like, he was a little bit overweight, maybe a little bit more than overweight, but he was doing mainly right things. I didn't think that changing the diet or exercising more would do anything. But I said, well, look, you're scheduled for heart surgery in 5 months. What do you got to lose? Why don't you try these patches? And of course, he was skeptical and everything. He's, let me think about it. And then literally almost like karma, 2 weeks later, one of his friends, which is the same age group as him, and he's 72, had a heart attack and died, right? Just out of the blue. He just totally freaked out. Andy, what the hell were you talking about those patches? Let's try them, right? And it's unfortunate because so many people, they wait for something really bad to happen. Either someone dies, someone has cancer, someone's heart attack, before you look at your own health and look at your mortality. But, there's a good ending to this story anyways. He was on the product for 4 months, and then basically 2 months before he's supposed to get his heart surgery, they pulled another blood panel on him. And 95% of the blood panel went from red to green, and there was still just a few that was yellow, right? Which is just, it's like not bad, it's like normal, like what where people are. And the cardiologist is, well, we're gonna have to postpone your surgery. You're probably still gonna need it at some point. I don't know what the hell you did, but everything is good now. We can't give you surgery, because they still have guidelines. I guess you have to be, failing on a D or E level on your blood panel before they can talk about surgery. So to me, it's like within 4 months, he reversed 3-4 years of damage to his heart.
You mentioned a good point. So you mentioned you are like a functional nutritionist, right? Mm-hmm. So here's my view of between a traditional and a functional. Mm-hmm. Traditional, they give you a pass or fail. You either pass, then they say you're healthy, mm-hmm. or you fail and you start taking medication.
Yes.
Right. In your case, since you're functional, and maybe you can explain a little bit more about what functional actually means.
Yes.
You grade them by like A, B, C, D, E level. Like you're really good, you're not really good, you're passable. But there's work that can be done in different stages. Is that right?
Yes. So, as a functional nutritionist, background and a longevity coach, longevity expert, we look at things at a much different lens. And it's interesting where you said A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. The interesting is D, E, F is where normal doctors will almost see it as normal, right? So if you drop below an F, that's when your health is bad. So basically F and above, you're actually okay through a normal doctor's eyes. For me, when I am working with people, not only do I look at the blood labs, I'm looking at the heart rate data, the resting heart rate, their heart rate recovery, the HRV. There's so much heart rate data, there's sleep patterns, right? What they're eating is I can determine where they are. But where I want is I don't want people to be in a DEF. I want people to at least be in a C+, like decent, like a decent passing grade. And where most people need to be is, when they think they're healthy, they're a C+. That's where most people are. And where I want to help people to be is into a B, right? And then once you get into say A-, that's when really crazy cool things happen. That's when your body actually gets innate intelligence, innate ability to start healing itself, and you actually start reversing age. Right. So that's where we want to be. We don't want to be, because a B is an Asian fail, right? We want to get into the A's, even an A-, and that's when the magic happens.
That's awesome. And I think it's powerful hearing from your perspective, your personal story, and how we envision helping a million lives. So we're going to take a break right now. And after the break, we'll go dive deeper into how you're making this vision a reality and the future as what's coming up next in the show. We'll be right back.
Everything we're made of contains light. From the sun that feeds our world to the energy that flows within us. With L.I.F.E X39, we've found a way to put that light to work. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and science that others could not. By utilizing L.I.F.E unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality. By gently stimulating the skin with light, our non-invasive, non-transdermal X39 patches help you conquer your active lifestyle and pave a new way to vibrant health. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. It all starts with your body and a little help from light. Place one L.I.F.E X39 patch on the body. Apply the patch to clean, dry skin in the morning. Patches may be worn for up to 12 hours before discarding. Keep well hydrated while using this product. Harness your natural potential. Reclaim youthful energy. Live long, live well, live young with L.I.F.E X39. Be the light. L.I.F.E.
Why do 98% of beauty enthusiasts rave about coolness? It's all in the blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. Introducing Coolness, Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream. This powerhouse combines the antioxidative power of schisandra berries, the glow of pearl powder, and the hydrating wonders of dragon's blood extract. It's like a time machine for your skin, making it radiant, firm, and oh so smooth. Inspired by ancient Chinese traditions and backed by modern nutritional science, this serum cream is perfect for dry, mature, and aging skin. It's time to unlock your inner glow with Coolness. Treat your skin to the best of both worlds today.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. Now, before the break, we talked about why we started the show and what our ultimate vision is going to be. So, I am interviewing my partner in life, in crime, everything, and that's Andy. So, in this section, let's talk about bringing your vision to life through collaboration, through a community, and innovation. So, let's start with our network. We've done this for 4 years, so we kind of have a network of experts that we have interviewed throughout the 4 years. So we are just starting. We started Chronic Health Collective, which is our second show, and now it is in the second season. Can you tell our audience how that collaboration comes together?
Yes, it's been interesting because, like we said in the first segment, we started a Chronic Healthy Life to try to reach 1 million people, right? And so we are interviewing guests each week, and they're all specialists in different fields. But just like anything else, there's always people that click with you. You almost know it's like, you share the common visions, you share common goals, you see things in the same light, right? Because I think it's really important that we're all seeing things in the same light. And last year we decided, hey, when living a chronic healthy life, you're talking about longevity, independence, family, and environment. And sure, we both know a lot of that, but we specialize on the longevity aspect, right? And it was really important to collaborate with others that are specialists in those other areas, right? Then it's not me trying to teach something outside my specialty. And that's why we started the Chronic Health Collective. We just finished our first year. We had our master class, and coming on to the second year, we sort of went through our first year and even dug a little deeper as who is our crew, our network, our same family, and we actually niched it down a little bit, right? But as with the Chronic Health Collective coaches, we all share a similar mission to inspire to help people to live longer, healthier, right? And there's so much more than just like I said, exercise and nutrition, right?
Right, for sure. Coaches have coaches. That's how
Yes.
coaches become better coaches. So for you, I think, I've seen you being treated by Janine, Dr. Janine Williams.
Yes.
And that was an incredible episode. And that's actually how she brought something out in you, right? Is that what excites you more about the team of coaches that we have?
Yes, because everyone has blind spots, right? It's like if you're driving in a car, they always tell you to shoulder check. And of course, all cars have cameras and everything, but there's always a blind spot. And all of us have blind spots, no matter how smart you are. I have friends that are geniuses, but when it comes to health, I'm sorry, they got a blind spot. They don't know nothing, right? Not saying they're dumb, they're geniuses. But it's the same thing, even for us as coaches. We may think we know everything, but we're constantly learning something new. And each coach has something that they specialize on. And we're like, once again, where we can improve upon each other as a network, right? So working with coaches, and even like us, like you said, coaches work with coaches because we're always looking to improve ourselves and how we can tackle those blind spots that, we may be missing in our own health and life.
Yeah, for sure. Because even for people that has terminal illness, I know that you had the opportunity of trying to work with those people, and a lot of times it's not in them, it's their family that says, I don't know, they've been through so much, let's let them be. And they're not really entertaining any alternative ideas, even though there's no other way to help them even get better. Right.
It's a shame. I agree. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You can get
I was saying it's a shame because, in the first segment, we talk about most people don't change their health unless something happens, like there's a death in the family or they develop a chronic condition. Now their mortality, they're scared of dying, right? But what if you're not the one that is dying, but your family member is? Now they're all in the medical system. And don't get me wrong, I think the medical system is great for certain things, right? Like after my car accident so many years ago, they put me back together, right? If it wasn't there, I probably would have died after my car accident. But at the same time, when it comes down to health and longevity, I'm sorry, medication, drugs, they should have nothing to do with health and longevity. Our bodies actually have what I love to call II. Everyone talk about artificial intelligence. Our bodies have innate intelligence, in which case it actually knows how to heal and repair itself and how to live in a constant younger state. And there are a lot of studies out there, regardless if you're religious or not, that people in the past have lived to be over 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, right? So the science is exciting. And if you look into all the living beings out there, and when saying living beings, like all the creatures in the world, there are things that almost live forever without aging. So there should be no reason people can't do that too. But with everything going on with the negative mindset and all the beliefs that someone else should be in charge of your health and everything is governed through drugs and make you feel better, our innate intelligence is getting so dumbed down and being turned off that we are getting old, we are developing these conditions, and we actually get worse with these drugs because all these drugs have side effects, right? And like I said, when you have a loved one that's dying, you're always saying, oh, I see them suffering. The doctors already said this. That's all we can do. But it's funny. It's like, why aren't you connecting me with the person that's dying? Maybe they want to have, a chance in life. And it's a shame, we can only do what we can do. We can only inspire. And like I said, we're not saying we're miracle, we're not spiritual healers or anything, but there are holistic ways that can help your body start fighting a better fight to fight off infections, cancer, or whatever it may be.
So I actually want to jump off topic a little bit. You told me something the other day about the Canada MAID program. That I want you to actually reiterate that to the audience, because I think that's important for people to know, to understand what patients go through, I guess, the thought process, and what they actually being done to.
The MAID program is it's basically Canada's program to euthanize you. So it's a government-assisted program to give you legal suicide, if that makes sense. And it's so funny because I talk to a lot of Canadian friends. They say, oh, you're crazy, Andy. There's no such thing, right?
It's a good thing, yeah. I actually know someone who went through it.
And the crazy thing is, it's very easy to qualify. Like you would think that there are certain states in U.S. and certain countries that say, hey, if you're dying from terminal cancer, right, and there's no way around, people that gets put into hospice, but we have a story where someone came out of hospice, but the people that are put in the hospice, there's no more hope. Then, to me, that might make sense, right? You got 2 more weeks or 1 more week, 1 more month to die, and you're in so much pain, you don't have any loved ones, then maybe it makes sense. Like, I never think you should be taking your own life, right? So I'm against that already. But the MAID program, they dumb down all the recommendations, and the decision is given by your doctor. It's not even given by you. So basically, you can go to your doctor, right? And you don't have to have a terminal disease. You can go to your doctor and says, look, I am suffering from chronic pain, which every old person is, especially in Canada, because certain things happened in the last 4 years that caused this. And I am in financial difficulty, which is crazy because everything's so expensive now. So yes, you're in chronic pain, you're in financial difficulty, you can't afford to live. Can you put me in the MAID program? And then within 30 days, the doctors say yes, and they'll assist you to die within 30 days, right? But what's even more scarier is last year, this was originally set up for senior people, right? Last year, they lowered the age threshold all the way down to 17 years old. So basically, kids that are depressed in school, that maybe feel like they're being picked on and they have nothing to live for, they can go to their doctor and say, look, everything's bad. I can't make a living. I got chronic conditions, and kids all have chronic conditions now, which is very scary. And when the doctor approves it, you as a parent or family member cannot take it away. Once it's approved, they are put on literally the chopping block, right? Even if you're a parent and say, look, I'm going to come in and change his life or her life, you cannot interfere once it's approved. So it's really crazy. And of course, the government puts it in a way, oh, well, we're helping people that's living in misery, suffering. But in my mind, it's like they are literally chopping the fat, because of all the old people, they don't have to pay, old age pension and everything, right? Assisted living, all these stipends for everything. So it's getting very, very scary. And that's why for us, when we're talking about chronically healthy life, it's really important. The mindset's part of longevity, right? You get into the negative spiral, things go wrong. There's studies that show it can actually lower your health too, right? So if you have your health, you got your mindset, and you're thinking positive, then you don't need any of this BS government assisted death programs.
Yeah, I mean, Canada is one of those countries that they call it free healthcare. When it's free, that they have a bankrupted system because they can't really afford it. So that's one thing. That's why they unofficially, if you watching like the conspiracy theorists, they saying they really wanted to euthanize 5 million people because they are just in so much debt. On the other hand,
I think they said that you want to euthanize 5 million people by 2030. So think about that.
So
that's
in
a lot
years.
Of people in the next 5 years.
And 17, Canada, you have to be 19 to be able to drink. But 17, you actually can call yourself, I want to die, and just die.
Yeah.
And
well, above 17, so I guess 17 and a half. I don't know. It's crazy. And the crazy thing is, so many people says, well, I want to move into Canada because they have free healthcare. They don't know what they're getting themselves into, because free healthcare just means free healthcare for your regular visits. And then if you have something chronic, yes, maybe you can get cancer treatment and stuff like that. But then it also depends on their load. If they're busy enough if they're too busy to get you in, they're not going to see you, right? So yes, you do get it free, assuming they have the staff and the beds to put you in, right? But if you're living with a chronic condition, they don't cover any of your chronic condition drugs, right? So here you are thinking that you have free Medicare, but my mom is paying $200 a month in drugs, and she's almost 90. So how is that free healthcare?
I mean, I don't know about free healthcare, but we are covered by healthcare for the last however many years. I haven't seen a doctor in 4 years. I think you've seen maybe once.
Yes.
So for us, our healthcare cost is almost nothing. So that brings us back to the longevity blueprint club that you envisioned and you're about to launch. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So there are so many membership clubs out there right now. And of course, some of them are amazing. I belong to a few of them. But at the same time, some of them are still so entrenched in the, what's the best way of saying this without sounding like an a-hole? They are still sort of entrenched in the medical field, right? So, they still basically going off of what medical doctors are saying. So like they'll never go and look at holistic ways, alternatives. They will never think that your body can heal itself. They don't look at mindset. They don't look at spirituality. They don't talk about meditation. They don't talk about any of these. And all these have proven can actually help you live longer, cure disease, not cure disease, reverse disease. Like I said, I don't want to say we can cure anything, right? So what I envision, first we did, the show to start off, network with people of like mindset, fill in the holes, just like, for nutrition, you need to fill in the holes, plug the gaps. So here we are, we got a group of experts in the Chronic Health Collective that are filling my gaps, where, my gaps in my armor per se, so now we have this amazing team that can help you in all aspects of life. And of course, we have our TV show, but the TV show only has so much of a reach and people can ask questions, right? So what I envision is we are coming out with the Longevity Blueprint Club. So everything about this is helping you not just live a long time, but to enjoy life, right? To reverse chronic conditions, to have better spiritual health, better relationships, every part of what we talk about chronically healthy life. And then each week we're going to have master classes from each of the coaches where you can actually ask questions, right? But on top of that, we're going to have life lessons, throughout the week from all the coaches. And the thing I love best is what we're going to have is we're going to have section every week for each of the coaches. There's going to be a time slot, a 30-minute time slot that you can just book that time and ask us anything, like anything. This is not a consult. You basically say, hey, Andy, I'm doing this. What are your thoughts? So I don't even need to ask your background. We are basically going to answer your question, and it's free, right? So this is going to be exciting for us because a lot of people says, well, I want to ask this question, but, I never get a chance to, or I want to ask this to this person. What do you think of this? Right? This is amazing. And of course, we're going to have challenges throughout the week. We're going to engage with the community and nothing's off limits, right? It's not going to say, oh, this is banned. You can't say this. You can't say this, right? Because we all have an open mind on figuring out how to help people live a long time, reverse chronic conditions, and most importantly, start reverse aging and living young while we get old.
Yep. So the Longevity Club is launching next month. And if you want more information on that, go to our website, Chronically Healthy Life, and you can sign up for our email list so that we can notify you when it is available. So for now, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the future of health.
Imagine a life where every day is fueled by energy, vitality, and purpose. Where age is just a number and your best years are always ahead. Hi, I'm Andy Nam, certified functional nutrition longevity coach, best-selling author, and international speaker. After reversing my own chronic health struggles, I'm now on a mission to help you live longer, stronger, and of course to look younger. I combine biohacking, cutting-edge nutrition, and stem cell technology to unlock your body's full potential. So no matter where your starting point is, I'm going to guide you toward a chronically healthy life. Ready to reverse aging and take control of your future? Connect with me today. Your journey to longevity starts here.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. Now we have talked about the future of the show, of the collective. Now let's talk about the future of longevity. We've heard like Dave Asprey, the father of biohack, talk about living to 180 and beyond. Where do you see our longevity and health heading next?
It's interesting because when I started on this journey 12, 13 years ago, I would have been happy to live to 80, 90, right? Because that's where, my grandparents lived to. Like my grandma actually lived up to be 99. And then, according to Chinese calendar and everything, they add a year there. So technically she lived to 101, but on the calendar, she lived to 99. So technically, on my, on my side of the family, maybe I can live a long time. But, my dad suffered for 15, 16 years of Parkinson before he died. He passed away in his 80s. So, when I first started this journey, living to 80 and seeing how it is, I didn't want to live past 80 if that's how it's going to be miserable, right? But it's interesting because in the first few years, as my health got better, I was like, well, life is pretty good. I want to live way past 80, right? So, my numbers inside at least 100, right? At least 100 is a good number. But in these last 3 to 5 years, since we've gone to Texas, since we've been studying so much more on the healing aspects of our body, originally I said 125 is reasonable, right? That, because like the longest people documented right now is like 124, 125. So that would be sort of cool. But like Dave Asprey says, 180, that is really awesome. But now, after coming back from the L.I.F.E convention and seeing all the studies out there, wouldn't it be cool to live past 200? I think that would be a pretty nice number because with technology advancing so quickly, it'll be pretty amazing to see what's going on in the next century. Not even in the next decade, but in the next century, right? So, I really want to throw it out there. I think anything is possible.
Yeah, I mean, we call ourselves biohackers, and that's mainly because we don't just eat a nutritious diet, right? That's easy to do. We actually have a lot of technology around our daily lives. Can you talk about some of them?
Yeah, it's interesting because, like you said, we followed Dave Asprey for a long time. We follow other biohackers like Ben Greenfield, and there are so many technologies out there. And most people think living a long time, you just need to supplement, right? All you see, all these ads is like, this supplement is going to make your life a little longer. This supplement is going to make it a little longer. But what people don't understand is, food and supplements, they can only go so far, right? Because first of all, your body, one, needs to be depleted of it, right? Like you need to be missing it, and then it might help. But if you're already on optimal levels at a certain supplement, you're just literally pissing it out, all right? The second thing is our bodies does not absorb 100% of everything that we eat. So even if you are supplementing, there's a certain level where you hit. And that's something that that I found in the last 8 years. Like I almost, when I first started my journey, I almost hit a plateau. Exercise and eating well, I got better, but there was that last 5-10% that I still have pain in my ankles, knees, because I got damaged, right? I fractured my neck, bent my back. Those still occasionally come back. What else is there to do? You can't exercise anymore or eat any better. We're eating pretty good. We'll probably eat better than 90% of the people out there. So 4 or 5 years ago, we started looking at biohacking techniques. Like there are technologies like infrared light, infrared saunas. There are PMF technologies, basically like electromagnetic fields that you can charge your body. Because what people don't understand is our bodies they work through light, frequency, and energy. So anything that can stimulate that will actually charge your body's mitochondria, which is like the powerhouses of your cells. And if your cells are charged up, technically you can live forever. It's almost like an EV having a solar panel on top of the car, and you constantly charge. You can literally run forever. So if our body has the power to keep regenerating our cells, we don't need to age. We don't need to get disease, because we're going to generate what we need to fight off what we need to do. So the only problem with some of these technologies, like the hyperbaric chamber, there's studies showing that you can reverse age by 9 years using it for 6 months, is cost and time, right? So me and you, we bought a lot of this technology at home. We use it ourselves, right? But each of these protocols, you need to use about 20 minutes to 30 minutes a day at a time. And, unless you're totally retired and have nothing else better to do, none of us have that 2-3 hours a day to do this, right? So there's got to be a better way. And 2.5 years ago, I was introduced to L.I.F.E, and if you saw some of those videos on there, this is very intriguing to me, because it's working on light, it's working on frequency, and it's working on energy. And the power, the battery for this technology is your own body. It's your own body's infrared light and heat. So it's like almost like that analogy, like I said, an EV car with solar panels on top of the roof. You're literally recharging yourself to technically live forever.
So, how are they? What's a better question to say? Traditional medicine or traditional medical treatment, they work really fast, right? Like if it works, it works right away. You can actually feel the difference right away. So how do you convince someone to actually go for a different modality?
I think that is the biggest hurdle, right? Because right now, everyone wants immediate results. They want everything fast. Everything is click on a button on your phone, on your laptop, Uber Eats, Netflix. Everything is instant, right? People are so indoctrinated into this instant thing. And even for drugs, right? Like a lot of times it's like, you got a headache, take Tylenol. A lot of studies what Tylenol is bad for you. We're not going to get into that, right? But one of the things is, yes, Tylenol took away the pain, but it took away the headache, but it didn't take away what caused the headache. So what people don't understand, when your body has pain, that's your body screaming for help that something is wrong. And when you numb that pain, guess what? What caused that pain is still happening underneath that surface, right? So for a lot of medications, that's what they're doing. They are just covering and masking symptoms. They're not actually looking at the root cause. So yes, just say you had knee pain. Okay, well, that's what I used to do. Remember, I used to pop so much pain medication just to play badminton. I was wrapped around all this rock tape, and I won a championship with a partner, right? But meanwhile, like, I was in a lot of pain. But once I popped the medication, hey, I'm good. I move, I twist my ankle, I don't even feel it, because all the pain is gone, because your body doesn't even know something is broken. And I think that is where the problem is people are so used for that immediate effect to nullify something. And they think that is helping your body heal. It isn't. It is actually taking away the signals of your body something is wrong. So what people don't realize, like you said, so many of us, we develop these conditions, like, heart conditions, high blood sugar, right? You start losing your memory, brain fog, and stuff like that. These things develop over time, right? So it's going to take some time, if you're working holistically, to get your body to purge out what's causing all these toxins that's built up in your body. It's going to take time to flush that out. And then after all that's flushed out, it's going to take time for it to start repairing what is broken, right? So, we have to educate people. It took many years to break your body. It may take quite a few years to turn it around, and then maybe another few years to make you young again, right? It's not going to be an instant process. There is no pill that you take and you automatically look young. There are a lot of pills that help you get skinny, but then it also causes muscle damage, heart damage, it causes liver damage, right? So what are people trading off of, right? For us, living a chronically healthy life, like I said, it's almost like biohacking. Everything that we do, does not harm the body. It just elevates it to the next level. So even like with these LifeWave patches, if you are taking supplements, it's going to help your body absorb the supplements better. It's going to allow you to take advantage of the supplements, right? We want to be using technology where one helps another without actually injecting poisons and toxins into your body.
So, I mean, the people that are watching the show, there's going to be people that say, hey, yeah, I'm in. But there's going to be the people that are skeptical. I don't know. He's a crook, you know. So if there's one step that you can recommend people to take right now that anybody can take, what would that be?
One step that I think people should do is, well, I don't want to think people should do, is you need to take back responsibility, right? I think with the whole blaming and complaining game, it's getting tired and old, right? And it's like you get bad grades. Well, my teacher sucked, right? You know, your relationship's bad. Well, my parents' relationships like that, right? You know, no one's taking responsibility for who they are, right? And when it comes to health, it's like, well, it's my genes. So now you're blaming your family, or it's the food, right? It's because I ate this food. Well, who put it in your mouth? You put it in your mouth, right? You know, a lot of things, you know, everything that happens to us, I'm sorry, we caused that. You caused what happened to you are where you are right now. And that's going to suck for people that's having heart conditions, high blood pressure, diabetes. It's your fault. I'm sorry. You know, if you don't like hearing it, it's too bad. That is the fact. You can't blame that your doctor didn't tell you, even though he probably didn't. But the point is, they're not responsible for your health. A lot of people says, well, my doctor is responsible for my health. And if he says everything's okay, everything's okay. No, that's not true. You are responsible for your health. So I think the first step is people need to take back responsibility. And then if they can take that step to take responsibility, now you want to figure out what's a better way. It's like you said in the very beginning, even coaches need coaches. Find someone that is inspiring you. Find something that is doing what you want to do, where you want to be, and make sure that they're walking the walk, talking the talk, because there's so many people that are just, you know, repeating information out there, but they don't do it. And I think that's a big problem, because it's like, if they're not doing what they're saying, then how do you know it's actually true, right? So that's why it's really important to work with people that will show you what they have done. And then you get to decide. Like I said, it's your responsibility, your choice if you want to do all those things. And maybe you don't want to do everything that me and you do, right? But like if people even do one thing out of the 100 things we do, I would guarantee you their health would be getting better.
So we're going to wrap up. Where do you think this show and the collective and the club, where do you want this movement to go?
The movement I see, once, of course, we want to affect 1 million people, right? We want to start getting more feedback from people, how we have changed our life, even if it's a little things like my wife and I had a great date night, even very, very little things, or my A1C, like my blood sugar is better where I don't need to take medication anymore, right? Where I see us is in the next year, I want to be recognizable where we can travel the world, like not just through virtual on the internet, but actually start having live events where we can talk and inspire people and giving specific training to what they want and need. And that's why this longevity blueprint club is so important, because we need to reach out to all of you. What are you looking for, right? Because as coaches, we always think that we know everything and we're giving you what we think you want. But at the end of the day, you need to tell us what you need so we can help you with what you want, right? So that's really what Chronically Healthy Life is all about. We're going to help you live a freakishly long time. And for those that have an open mind, maybe up to 200 years old, we'll be watching the Jetsons together, right? But, you know, the first step is you need to have an open mind, right? And be open to things that are not conventional. Because like I said, for what we do, definitely not conventional.
Yeah, so unconventional wishes definitely need unconventional ways. And I think that's where we come into play, right? We're giving you the possibility that you could achieve something that everybody is telling you that it cannot be done.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
All right. So I guess we can wrap this up.
Yes.
So
So
yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. I was going to say, anyone that wants more information, reach out to chronicallyhealthylife.com, right? Set up a free 30-minute consult with me at longevityofandy.com, right? You can be on a mailing list. We're going to share all these amazing things. And like I said, hit us up if you have certain questions. We'll love to hear your comments on where we can guide you and help you on your longevity journey.
Awesome. So, of course, this show happens every Friday at 7 p.m. CST. The Chronic Health Collective is Tuesday at 7 p.m. CST. And you can find both of them on e360tv.com. We are on the Vitality TV network. And like Annie said, we are on our website, chronicallyhealthylife.com. And you can find out more about what we do, what our collective do, and get a free 30-minute consultation with Andy. And of course, check out our brand new skincare line. And that's it for this week. Until next time, stay vibrant, stay strong, and stay chronically healthy. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.